Hey guys, I'm T and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, we make trendy and fun crochet tutorials twice a week. And if you haven't already, smash that like button, drop a comment below, and subscribe to join in on the fun. This pretty little thing we have here is a long time coming. I've been wanting to try my hand on another fold top design, and I thought now would be the perfect time. This top reminds me of something a Disney princess would wear, which, combined with last week's anime-inspired top, makes me realize my life is consumed with cartoons. But I'm not mad at it, it keeps me creative. If you pull creativity from strange places, let me know in the comments below, and if you dig my creations, be sure to click the bell so you're notified when I've got another one coming. Now with all that said, let's get this show on the road. So, without further ado, for this project, any category 4 yarn will work, but I used 3/4 of a skein of Lion Brand's Pound of Love in Pumpkin Spice. As for tools, a 5mm hook, scissors, stitch markers, and a tape measure. There's a written pattern down below. Use offer code TCD DIY for a discount off any $9.99 plus order. Watch the end of the video to learn how to enter this week's giveaway. We're using 6 stitches for this project and it will be as follows. Chain, slip stitch, single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, treble crochet, and double treble crochet. This tutorial is for a size small, but you can adjust it for your size, and we explain how to in the video, so let's get started. Getting this top started, we're first going to grab our category 4 yarn and make a slip knot. Next, we're going to grab our 5mm hook and start off by making a chain that fits from the top of our chest down to where we want the bottom of this top to be. Keep in mind there will be a bottom band, and this does need to be an even number, so I'm going to make a chain of 30, and that's 6 inches or 15 centimeters. Now that I have my chain, I'm going to block off my last chain, do a chain of a 1, and then into the chain that we blocked off, or the second chain from our hook, we're going to insert with a slip stitch. Let's do the next one together. We're going to insert our hook into that next chain, yarn over, and pull through both loops on our hook. We're going to put 1 slip stitch into every chain, making our way down. I'll meet you guys back at the end of this row so we can increase together. Now that we made our way all the way down to the end of our chain, we're going to increase. So we're going to start off by doing a chain up of 2. We're going to flip our work and then go into that second chain away from our hook with a back loop slip stitch. So insert your hook into that back loop, yarn over, and pull through everything. And we're going to make our way all the way down, putting 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. Once we made our way down to the end of our second row or our first row of back loop slip stitches, we're going to do a chain up of 1, flip our work, and then put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch, making our way back down. Then I'll meet you guys back just one more time so we can do one more increase together. And now that we've made our way down with more back loop slip stitches, our increase, just one more time, starts off with a chain up of 2. We're going to flip our work, then insert our hook into the second chain that we have from our hook with a back loop slip stitch. And from here, we aren't going to be doing any more increases, so just put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. When we get to the end of the row, we're going to do a chain up of 1, flip our work, and then put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch again. And from here, we're going to keep doing this, which is just rows of back loop slip stitches with no increases or decreases until this reaches the back side of our underarm. And we do want to make sure that when we are placing this on ourselves, to make sure that we're getting the right measurements, that this first row that we have right here is about 1 inch away from the center of your chest, because we do need to make space for that detail that we're going to have as well. And so go ahead and get that done. Just make sure that you guys are stretching it as if you were wearing it when you guys are measuring it up to yourself. And I'll meet you guys back just after a few more rows along the top. We are back and we have just finished the front portion. I have a total of 31 rows, and that's 5 inches or 13 centimeters unstretched. Now we can work on the back piece, which we should have all ended along the top. So from here, we're going to make a chain of 2 inches or 5 centimeters, and that's going to give us some height. So I'm going to make a chain of 8. Now that we have our chain, we're going to block off that last chain and do a chain up of 1. From here, we're going to insert our hook into that chain that we blocked off, or the second chain from our hook, with a slip stitch. And we're going to slip stitch all the way down, continuing to do back loop slip stitches going down the body portion. And we're going to maintain a solid block of back loop slip stitches until we reach the other underarm that we have, and then we're going to repeat this front portion over here. So I will meet you guys back along the bottom, and then we can get started on this portion. All right, guys, we are back, and I have just finished up going in with my back panel. I now have a total of 58 rows, and that's 8.5 inches or 22 centimeters unstretched. And now we're going to finish off this piece by doing the same front portion we did here along this side. So work your way up, doing the same amount of stitches you had before you did your chain for the back. I had a total of 32, so I'm just going to work back and forth with these rows, no increases and no decreases, until we have just 4 rows left, because we're going to need to decrease just like how we did our increases over here. So go ahead and get that little chunk finished up, and I'll meet you guys back. My piece is nearly finished. I've just made my way down with the same amount of rows as this front portion over here, and now we have just our 4 rows left to do so that we can do our decreases. Since I ended along the bottom, I'm going to be putting 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch, making my way up until I have just 2 stitches left. And now that we've made our way all the way down till we have just 2 stitches left, we're going to be doing a decrease of 2. So we're first going to insert our hook into that second to last back loop, pull through, and then into that last back loop. We should have 3 loops on our hook. From here, we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. And just like the other end, we did an increase into every other row, so now we're going to decrease into every other row. So we're going to do a chain up of 1, flip our work, and make our way down, putting 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. And now that we've made our way down to the bottom, we're going to do a chain up of 1, flip our work, and we have 1 more row of decreasing to do, so make our way back down, putting 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch, leaving the last 2. And we have just 2 stitches left into this row, so we're going to be doing 1 more decrease together. Insert your hook into that second to last back loop, pull through, into that last back loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. And for the last row of this section, we're just going to do a chain up of 1, flip our work, and put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch, making our way down. And I'll meet you guys back at the end of this row. All right, so we have just finished up going in with the entirety of our body portion. I'm going to do a chain up of 1 and cut, and we can get started on our cable. So what we're all going to do is start off by making a chain of 7. Once we have our chain 7, we're going to block off that last chain, do a chain up of 2, prepare for a half double crochet, and then into that chain that we blocked off, or the third chain from our hook, we're going to go in with a half double crochet. And we're going to make our way down, putting 1 half double crochet into every chain. Now that we've put 1 half double crochet into every chain, we're going to do another row of half double crochets. So let's do a chain up of 2, flip our work, and then put 1 half double crochet into every stitch. So we've just finished up going in with our first 2 rows, and now the fun begins with our cables, which is row number 3. So let's all start off by doing a chain up of 2 and flip our work. Into that first stitch, we're going to go in with 1 half double. And from here, we're going to prepare for a front post double treble. So all that is yarning over 1, 2, 3 times. From here, we're going to take a look at our first half double crochet row, and then insert our hook into the third half double crochet. So not counting this chain of 2, we're going to count up 1, 2, into that third, we're going to insert our hook and bring it through the other side, yarn over, pull through. From here, we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, 2, and 2. Once when we have that, we're going to be doing 1 more because each of our cables is done in a set of 2. So prepare for a front post double treble. So yarn over 1, 2, 3 times. Into this next half double crochet, insert your hook into there, pull through 2, pull through 2, 2, and 2. Now that we have those two, now we're going to work on a crossover. So this is going to be another set of 2 front post double trebles. So yarn over 1, 2, 3 times. We're going to bring our hook back over to this first half double crochet, not counting this chain up of 2. So insert your hook into that first half double crochet that we skipped over, pull through 2, 2, 2, and 2. And they're worked in sets of 2, so we have one more left to do. So yarn over 1, 2, 3 times. Into our second half double crochet, insert, pull through 2, 2, 2, and 2. Once we have that, we should have 3 half double crochets left into our half double crochet row, the first one. So into the third and second to last, we're going to go in with a set of 2 front post trebles. So we're going to yarn over 1, 2 times. Into that third to last, we're going to insert our hook behind there, pull through 2, 2, 2, and we have just one more, so yarn over 1, 2 times, into the second to last, yarn over, pull through 2, 2, and 2. And just to close off this row, we're going to put 1 half double crochet into that last stitch. And our first row of our cable, or row number 3, is all finished up. And once we have this, we're going to do a chain up of 2, flip our work, and then make our way down, putting 1 half double crochet into every stitch. Our row number 4 is all complete, and now to get started on our second cable row, or our row number 5. So to start up our next row, we're going to do a chain up of 2. Flip our work, put 1 half double crochet into that first stitch. Once we have that, we're going to start off our next row by doing a set of 2 front post treble crochets. So yarn over 1, 2 times. Into that first post that we have, not our first half double crochet, but the first post that we have, we're going to insert our hook behind there, pull through 2, 2, 2. And we have one more left to do, so yarn over 1, 2 times. Into that next post, insert your hook, pull through 2, 2, and 2. Once we have that, we have another crossover section to do, so we're going to prepare for a set of 2 front post double trebles. Yarn over 1, 2, and 3 times. We're going to be skipping these next 2 posts and going into the third and second to last, putting 1 front post double treble into each. So into that third to last, pull through 2, 2, 2, 2. Into the second to last, we're going to do one more. So yarn over 1, 2, 3 times. Into that second to last, pull through 2, 2, 2, and 2. Now from here we have a crossover section to do, but it's actually going to be done underneath into this little window that we made. So we're going to start off by doing a yarn over of 1, 2, and 3. We are all going to hang on to our yarn, making sure that it doesn't slip off, and we're going to pull our work down so that we can see our 2 posts right in through that window. So these are the 2 posts that we need to go into. So we're going to go into that first one. We're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, 2, 2, and 2. And we have one more left to do, so yarn over 1, 2, 3, pull our work down. Into that last post, we're going to insert our hook. Yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through 2, 2, 2, and 2. Once we have that, we are now going to close this off by half double crocheting into our last stitch that we have. And from here, we're going to be repeating rows 3 through 5, till we have half the amount of rows as initial chains that we made. So as an example, I made 30 chains, so I'm going to keep going until I have a total of 15 rows. And then we'll meet each other back so that we can seam everything up together. If you guys need a refresher on how to do our cable rows, there will be timestamps in the description, so go ahead and check those out if you guys need them, but I'll meet you guys back once we have this all finished up. Alright, so I am back and I have just finished up going in with my cable. I ended up having a total of 15 of these cable rows here because the initial chain that I made was 30. And once we have this, we're going to single crochet down the sides. So what we're going to do is do a chain up of 1, and into each of our side half double crochet rows, we're going to go in with 2 single crochets. So let's do the first bit together. This is my first side half double crochet row right here. So I'm going to go in with 1 single crochet and then 2 single crochet. Let's do just one more together. Insert my hook into this next side half double with 1 and 2 single crochets. And keep doing this, going all the way down. I'll meet you guys back at the end. And now that we have single crochet down the side of our cable, we're now ready to seam it up. So the first thing we're going to do is insert our hook into the corner stitch that we have into the body portion, and then into the corner stitch that we have into the cable portion. We want to make sure that the cable is faced right side up, so all the details faced up towards us, because our seam is going to be an outside loop slip stitch seam, and it's going to be on the outside. So now that our hook is in through both of these loops, we're going to pull through and do a chain up of 1 to secure. And from here, like I said, we're going to be going in through the outside loops. So into the front panel, we're going to insert our hook into the front loop, and then into the back panel, we're going to insert our hook into that back loop. We should have 1, 2, 3 loops on our hook. So we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. Let's do the next one together. Into the front panel, we're going to insert our hook into the front loop, and then into the back panel, we're going to insert our hook into that back loop. And from here, yarn over and pull through all 3. And we're doing it this way just so we can get a little bit of an extra rib as we keep going. So go ahead and do this going all the way down. Once we don't have any more stitches, do a chain up of 1 and cut, and then do the same thing on the other side. All right, so we have just finished up connecting our cable to our piece, and now we can get started on the bottom band. So we're going to flip our work upside down and start off by putting 1 single crochet into every side slip stitch row that we have. So we're going to insert your hook into any one of these stitches. It doesn't matter which one. Insert your yarn onto your hook, pull through, and then do a chain up of 1 to secure. And from here, like I said, we're going to be putting 1 single crochet into every side slip stitch. So this is my next slip stitch row, which is this divot. I'm going to insert my hook into there and single crochet. And this is my next side slip stitch, which is this raised row, single crochet into there. We're going to keep doing this, going all the way around, including going over the bottom of the cable, which is just some regular stitches. Then we're going to slip stitch into that chain above 1 space that we made for ourselves, and then I'll meet you guys back. So now that we've made our way all the way around with our single crochet row, now we're going to go in with the length that we want our bottom band to be. And I want mine to be about 2 inches or 5 centimeters. So I'm going to start off by making a chain of 10. Once when I have my chain, I'm going to block off that last chain and do a chain up of 2. That counts as a half double crochet. From here, we're going to prepare for a half double, and then insert our hook into that chain that we blocked off, or the third chain from our hook with a half double. Let's do the next one together. Prepare for a half double, into that next chain, pull through all 3. And keep doing this, making our way down towards the base. Once we put 1 half double crochet into every chain, we're now going to slip stitch it into the base. So how we're going to do that is count up the next 2 available stitches. So here's 1, here's 2. Slip stitch into that second to close off this row. And then from here, we're going to be slip stitching into the next 2 to work our way up to the next row. So slip stitch up 1 and slip stitch up 2. When we have that, flip your work And then we're going to make our way down, putting one back loop half double crochet into every stitch. So prepare for a half double crochet. Insert your hook into that first back loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all three, and keep putting one back loop half double crochet into every stitch. When we make our way down to the end, do a chain up of 2, flip our work, put one back loop half double crochet into every stitch, and then slip stitch it into the base the same way that we just did. And keep doing this, going all the way around until we don't have any more stitches left. Then I'll meet you guys back so that we can seam this up together. All right, so we are back and we have just made our way around with our bottom band, and we have flipped our work wrong side out so that we can seam this all up together. So the first thing we're going to do is insert our hook into the first available stitch into the front panel and into the first available stitch into the back panel. And this is going to be pretty similar to how we did our cable seam, but this is going to be done with single crochets instead of slip stitches. So from here, we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Let's do one more together. Into the next available stitch into the front, and then into the next available stitch into the back. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And we're going to keep doing this, going all the way down. All right, so now that we have just finished up going in with our bottom band, now we're going to single crochet across the top and across the back just to clean this up, but they're going to be done in 2 separate goes. So let's get the first one started. We're first going to single crochet along the top. So we're going to be inserting our hook into this corner stitch where our back meets this top portion right here. Insert your hook into that corner, pull through, and do a chain up of 1. And this portion is going to be the same as how we started off our bottom band. We're going to go around putting 1 single crochet into each side slip stitch row. All right, so we have just finished up going all the way around our top portion with a single crochet. Before we get started on cleaning up the back piece, what we're going to do is insert our stitch markers into the stitches that's right on top of the cable. We should have a total of 8, and that's what I have in between here to here. And then just as a quick reminder, I inserted this middle stitch marker just so I know where the 2 middle ones are. But once we have that, we can flip our work over, insert our hook into this corner stitch, and same rules apply. Put 1 single crochet into every side slip stitch row, do a chain up of 1 and cut on this end. All right, so now that we have this portion all finished up, now we're going to try on our piece and do just a little bit of measuring. The first spot that we're going to need to figure out will be to find the stitch that's right where our underarm is. Mine is the 15th stitch away from my cable stitch marker along both sides. And once we have those, we're going to measure from this stitch marker around our back to this stitch marker. And for me, that's a total of 23 inches or 58 centimeters. So I'm going to connect my 2 stitch markers with a chain of 85. All right, so now that we have slip stitched it into our other stitch marker over here, we should now have this really long chain. And right before we get started on filling out this chain, we are first going to insert some more stitch markers so that we know where we're going to do our single crochets, half double crochets, and our double crochets. And we're doing it in sections because we want this back half to be just a little bit thicker than this front half. So what we're going to do from here, I inserted my stitch marker into the 10th stitch away from this cable stitch marker, and then 10 stitches away from there. So I'm going to have 10 singles, 10 half doubles, and the rest are going to be double crochets, and the same thing along this end. So let's just get this part started, and then I'll meet you guys back at the end so we can get started on the next row together. So I'm first going to insert my hook into this corner stitch where this stitch marker is. I'm going to insert my yarn onto my hook, pull through, do a chain up of 1, and from here over to my first stitch marker, I'm going to be putting 1 single crochet into every stitch. Now that I've single crocheted all the way down to my first stitch marker, if you guys want, we can take out this stitch marker and then insert it into that last single crochet just so we know where we're going to be switching things out. And from here, we're going to go in with half double crochets all the way down until we hit our next stitch marker. And I've just made my way down with my half double crochets. Same rule apply as before. Go ahead and take out this stitch marker and insert it into your last half double crochet. Then from here, making our way all the way around our chain until we hit our next stitch marker, we're going to be going in with double crochets. So let's do the first one together. From here, we're going to prepare for a double crochet. Into that next chain, we're going to insert our hook, pull through, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two, and put one half double crochet into every stitch. When we hit our next stitch marker, we're going to do another set of half double crochets. And then when we hit the next stitch marker, we're going to do another set of single crochets, and then I'll meet you guys back. All right, so we are back with our first row when it comes to our shoulder strap. And we have single crocheted all the way down until we got to the first stitch marker that we have right here on the edge of our cable. And then from here, we're going to do a slip stitch into the next stitch going in towards the cable to start up our next row. But this is going to be within the back loop because we want just a little rib along the top. So this is my next stitch that I have right here. Instead of going in through both of these loops, I'm just going to insert my hook into that first back loop, yarn over, pull through everything, and now I'm going to flip my work. And now that my work is flipped, we're going to do pretty much the same thing. So it's going to be rows of single crochets, half doubles, and then doubles. From here on out, they will be going in through the back loops, and then for the first stitch and the last stitch, whenever we get there, it's going to be an increase because that's going to help us form a little curve. So let's do that together. So going into that first back loop that we have, we're going to insert with one single crochet, and then into that same back loop, another single crochet. And then from here, put one back loop single crochet into every stitch until we hit our stitch marker. From there, switch it up to a back loop half double crochet until we hit our next stitch marker, and then make our way back around with back loop double crochets. I'll meet you guys back once we have just one stitch left into our single crochet section so that we can do that increase together. All right, so we have just made our way all the way around with our second row when it comes to our shoulder strap. And like I said before, we have just one stitch left, and we're going to be going into there with an increase of 2 back loop single crochets together. So into that last back loop, go in with one single crochet, and into that same back loop, a second single crochet. And then from here, we are going to be slip stitching it into the front loop now because we're facing the opposite direction, because remember, we want this rib along the front. So it's just going to depend on what side we're looking at it from. But from here, we're going to slip stitch into the next available stitch, going into the front loop. So just into that front loop like that, yarn over, pull through to close off this first row. And in order to work our way up to the next row, we're going to slip stitch into the next front loop, yarn over, pull through, and flip our work. And then just to get this row started off with you, we're going to go in with another increase of 2 back loop single crochets. So into this first single crochet stitch, insert your hook into that back loop with 1 single crochet, and then with 2 single crochet. Just like that, and then we're going to do back loop single crochets till our stitch marker, back loop half double crochets till our next stitch marker, and then back loop doubles all the way around until we hit this other side. And then we're going to keep doing this, going back and forth until we don't have any more stitches left to go into, and then I'll meet you guys back. All right, so we are back with our shoulder straps. We all should have a total of 4 rows, and we're just going to be doing one more row just to bring everything together pretty much. It's going to be the same exact way that we have done everything else, but no increases in the beginning or at the end. So we're just going to go in back loop singles, back loop half doubles, and then back loop doubles. So let's get this started off together. I don't have any more stitches left to go into, so from where I'm at, I'm actually going to slip stitch into the first stitch that I have along the other end just to close this off. And from here, I'm going to do a chain up of 1. I'm going to flip my work back around and then work into the same direction that I would have been. And then from here, I'm going to flip my work back around and then work my way back into the direction that I was already supposed to be going. So from here, just go in, putting 1 back loop single crochet into every stitch, and then switch out to 1 back loop half double crochet into each of those, then back loop doubles. Once we make our way all the way back around, we're going to slip stitch into that chain up of 1 space, do a chain up of 1 and cut, and then I'll meet you guys back. All right, so now that we have just finished up going in with our last shoulder strap row, we're now going to need to connect the shoulder strap to our back panel. And the first thing we're going to want to do is make sure that we will be attaching it into the shoulder strap row that we just finished instead of the bottom, because we want this to have a flap over the back panel. And the easiest way to do this in order to make sure that we have the same amount of stitches along both sides is count the amount of stitches that we have along our back panel, insert your stitch marker, and this next part may take a little bit, but count out the amount of stitches that we have for our shoulder strap, find that middle stitch marker, and then we're just going to count out the amount of stitches we have along the back, and then we're going to do the same thing for the shoulder strap, and then insert our hook or stitch marker into that last stitch. And then we're just going to seam this up, going all the way across. So what we're going to do is insert our hook into the corner stitch of the back panel, and then into the same stitch count as our shoulder strap. From here, we're going to pull through and do a chain up of 1 to secure. And we're going to seam this up the same way that we have seamed up our bottom band. It's going to be with a single crochet. So into the next available stitch, insert your hook, and then into your next available stitch into the back strap, insert your hook, and single crochet. And keep doing this, going all the way down until we don't have any more back panel stitches left to go into. Do a chain up of 1 and cut, and then I'll meet you guys back. So now that we have our shoulder strap all finished up, we're now going to need to do a little prep row for our sleeves. We're going to single crochet inside of our third row when it comes to our shoulder strap, and then we're going to half double crochet into the body just to make sure that everything is nice and even. So together, we're first going to get started on the left side, so make sure that your work is flipped right side up and right side out. And taking a look at the left side, we're going to insert our stitch marker into the shoulder strap's first row. We're going to insert our stitch marker into the shoulder strap's third row. And we're choosing the third so that we can have a decent fold over our sleeve. And also we have back loops for us to easily go into. That's why we're not going into the second or into the fourth. And I'm going to insert my first stitch marker into the stitch that's right above my first stitch that I have from the body portion. So if we lay it down flat, I inserted my stitch marker into here, and then I laid it down flat across the back. And then when this back portion is stretched, I inserted my stitch marker into the last stitch that I have right before it hits the body portion. And from here, we're going to half double crochet into the body. So let's get this part started off with each other. I'm going to insert my hook into this first stitch marker, pull through, and we're going to single all the way across until we hit our next stitch marker. And now that I've made my way all the way down with my single crochets, I'm now going to slip stitch it into the third stitch that I have into the back. So from the bottom, I'm going to count up 1, 2, 3. We're going to slip stitch it into here just to make sure that it all stays nice and put. So yarn over and pull through everything. And once we have that, we're going to prepare for a half double crochet, and then put 1 half double crochet into every body stitch. And now that I've half double crocheted all the way down my body portion, I'm now just going to slip stitch it into that first single crochet that I made when we started off this section. So insert, yarn over, pull through. Now I can do a chain up of 1 and cut. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side, but it's going to be in reverse since it's on the right side. So I'm actually just going to talk you guys through where to insert your hook so that everything can actually play out evenly. So taking a look at the right side, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to place our stitch marker into the stitch that is in the third row of our strap that's directly above our last single crochet that we have within the body. And then we want to make sure that we place our second stitch marker into the same stitch that we have over here. We want to make sure that everything is nice and even. And then from there, we're going to single crochet down till we hit our stitch marker, half double crochet into the first body single crochet, and then half double crochet all the way back, and then slip stitch it into that first single crochet that we made. All right, so now that we have just finished up going in with our sleeve prep row, what we're going to do now is just go straight in with our sleeve. So we're going to want to figure out how long we want our sleeve to be, and I know that I want my sleeve to be 15 inches or 38 centimeters, and that's going to come out to a total of 60 chains. So I'm going to insert my hook into any one of these stitches within our sleeve prep that we just did. So I'm going to insert it into this half double crochet, And I'm going to start off by making a chain of 60. And just as a really quick tip, if you guys are pulling your chains super tight, that's totally fine. It just may be a little bit more difficult to go in with your slip stitches for the next row. So try to keep it as loose as possible, but for the rest of the sleeve, keep your grip the same. Because if you tighten up your grip for the next row, it'll actually shorten your sleeve. Now that we have our sleeve chain, what we're going to do from here is block off that last chain, do a chain up of 1, and then into that chain that we blocked off, or the second chain from our hook, we're going to go in with a slip stitch. And remember, keep your grip nice and loose. And keep working your way down the chain, putting 1 slip stitch into every chain. Now that we've made our way all the way down with our slip stitches, we're now going to slip stitch into the base. So into our next stitch that we have into our sleeve prep, we're just going to slip stitch into there, pull through, and then into the next slip stitch to work our way up to the next row, slip stitch into there, and flip our work. And from here, make our way down, putting 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. And this is actually going to be fairly easy. We're just going to keep doing that, going all the way around, only going into the sleeve prep row that we have made for ourselves. And then I'll meet you guys back so that we can seam it all up together. All right, so I am back and I have just finished up going all the way around with my sleeve, and now I'm just going to seam it up. And this seam is going to be the same seam that we did for the cables, so let's just do the first one together. This is going to be the same whether if you guys ended along the top or the bottom. We're going to insert our hook into the first available stitch, making sure we're going in through that front loop, and then into the same stitch along the back panel, but going in through that back loop. Once we have that, we're going to yarn over and pull through everything. And we're going to do that going all the way down. And then I'll meet you guys back at the end so that we can do our cuff together. If you guys are going the opposite way, do a chain up of 1 and cut, and then reattach your yarn along the bottom. And once we made our way all the way down with our sleeve, now we're going to go in with our cuff. So the first thing we're going to have to do is clean up the bottom, and then we're going to single crochet once into every side slip stitch row. And keep doing this going all the way around. Go ahead and slip stitch into that chain up of 1 space. So now that we've made our way all the way around with our single crochet row, we're just going to finish this off with our cuff. So I want my cuff to be about 2 inches or 5 centimeters. So I'm going to start off by making a chain of 10. From here, we're going to prepare for a half double crochet, insert our hook into that chain that we blocked off, or the third chain from our hook with a half double, and put 1 half double crochet into every chain. Once we made our way down with our half double crochet, we're now going to slip stitch it into the second stitch that we have into the base. So we're going to count up 1, count up 2, slip stitch into that second stitch to close off this first row. And now to work our way up to the next row, we're going to be slip stitching up the next 2 stitches. So there's 1, and then there's 2. We're going to flip our work, prepare for a half double crochet. Into this first back loop, we're going to insert, pull through 3. And we're going to make our way down, putting 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch. And we're going to maintain this pattern, making our way all the way around until we don't have any more stitches left. And we'll meet each other back so that we can seam it up together. All right, so we are back and we have just finished going all the way around with our cuff, and now we're going to seam everything up together. So what we're going to do from here is make sure that our hook is in through the corner stitch of both of our front and back panel. We're going to pull through, do a chain up of 1. And then from here, we're going to insert our hook into the first available stitch into the front panel, into the next available stitch into the back panel, and then single crochet. We're going to keep doing this, going all the way down until we don't have any more stitches left. Once we have that finished, we're going to do the same exact thing that we did over here for this sleeve on the other side, and then I'll meet you guys back. And now that we are finished up with both of our sleeves, we are actually all done. The last thing we have to do is just weave in all of our ends. We've woven in our ends, and our top is now all finished. I always love sharing some cable stitch goodness with you guys, and this one is no exception. I'm really excited to style this piece. Now I just need it to get colder. There's a written pattern down below. Use offer code TCDDIY for a discount off any $9.99 plus order. Enter this week's pattern giveaway by telling us you have any fall traditions. Good luck to everyone who enters. Also, if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up because believe it or not, it actually helps. And be sure to share us on Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and Facebook, links down below. Link to our Etsy page is down there too if you want to buy this piece or any other piece on the channel. And be sure to favorite the shop so you don't miss out on new patterns and exclusive deals. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.